First time I'm on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think we if we go live, we go on YouTube, X, and LinkedIn at the same time normally, right?
Normally, yes, but this time I want to really push the attention to YouTube.
Yeah.
But for our next rounds, we're always flexible.
Well, there's a bit of background noise from someone.
Yeah,
I think it's Valentine. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, so we might have some early joiners. Let's see.
I think for whoever is joining early, welcome to Enflux Insights. We'll
Welcome.
a couple minutes. It is exactly 2 o'clock here in Amsterdam. Well, it's 3 o'clock in Bulgaria, Sofia.
3 o'clock in Bulgaria, indeed.
Singapore, what time is it in Singapore for everyone who's joining from Singapore?
It's like 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Evening. After
Still acceptable.
Acceptable.
Exactly. US, what is US time zone?
Isn't it minus 12 hours? It's like 8 a.m.?
Oh, 5 a.m. in LA. Means New York, they're just starting their day. Well, that's the perfect time to start with Enflux Insights, I guess.
Indeed.
All right, we'll just wait maybe another minute to wait for other people to hop in. I hope you guys don't hear too much of my clicking noises.
A little bit. But that makes it human, right?
True. I'm going to change to silent mouse.
I think it keeps it authentic. Believe it.
I wonder if we should get like a little jingle in the beginning of this.
Ding.
What type of jingle are you talking about?
Like no, not a Christmas jingle. I was talking about like an elevator like jingle. So for people to join, there's a little bit of music and and then.
I mean, we could definitely put something in the background.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So it's been a minute and we have a couple viewers on board. So I just want to quickly start this off. So hi, everyone. If you've ever wondered why you're losing lots of money while a random whale is making millions from a chart, here is the next 30 minutes. And we're going to show you what it's like to think as a market maker. So we see beyond the red and green candles, and we're going to go deep dive into how the real investors think that the retailers will never see. So if you're new and you're wondering why you should listen to us, here at Enflux, we accelerate the future of digital asset markets through market making, OTC investments, and prop trading. And for today's speakers, we have both of our co-founders, Yele Booth and Valentin Mihoff here, who has many years of experience in the crypto markets. Thank you guys for joining today. So we're going to be interpreting current market narratives that's ongoing on the market. We're going to talk about price analytics and all other unknown events that's going to be happening in the industry. So stay tuned if you're a retail trader or if you're a founder of a token project, or maybe if you're not a token project, that's totally cool. Stay focused and you might learn a thing or two. So let's move forward with our live stream. First of all, thank you guys for hopping in. And let's talk about the markets first of all. There's been quite a few things that's been happening in August. What would you guys think of the current things happening right now? Would you like to summarize? Go on forward.
I can kick it off. Like August has been like a very, very interesting month. Like I think the first half of August, I think it was all about Bitcoin. It was Bitcoin hitting 124, right? And then the second half, things changed quite rapidly, and then Ethereum gained the upper hand. So August was quite a turbulent month, and we see both Bitcoin dominance in the beginning and then altcoin season kind of picking up.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the Bitcoin dominance I have it in front of me, 65% end of June, dropped in July to 62, and right now we're at 58 in August. So that's quite a significant drop. Although Bitcoin went up in this month, reaching all-time high.
I think we can clearly see that there's an altcoin rotation that is coming in play. How it is going to develop until the end of the year, I think we have some sort of predictions, but I think August was a turning point. Although Bitcoin kind of dropped back to 113, I think this is essentially like a very classic August pattern that is in play throughout every crypto year. But there are a few more things that happened in August. It's kind of more of a continuation. Like in terms of ETFs, like they're still going very, very much very strong with I think around like 29 billion year to date inflows, which is absolutely fantastic. And then there's also quite a big DeFi boom coming in. The TVL hits 100, I think almost 130 billion, which is up around 40% compared to January.
That's pretty sick. What about Hyperliquid? I think they had one other big event as well, where I think they surpassed the trading volume of Robinhood.
Yeah,
that's pretty massive, and I like that it's also a DEX basically. You know, we often think about Uniswap, but Hyperliquid is a DEX too, and them surpassing that is pretty massive in my opinion.
Yeah.
What about Val? Maybe the inflow of VC capital. What are your thoughts on that? Maybe the things that we see as a market maker specifically in the past month.
I think the VC capital. If you ask me this question in June or July, I'll be very, very bearish because this is essentially what the data shows. It has been at all-time low compared to 2021, right? So I think VC funding hit rock bottom. In a way. However, I think this is now starting to pick up with the altcoin rotation that ETH is basically pushing forward.
Yeah. Well, I think it also has to do with maybe vacation period now and before as well. But I think also that the playbook, before doesn't really play out as much. So I think they're looking more for equity investments or in real business that have real business and revenue, rather than simply in tokens and make a massive bet, so to say. I think we all professionalize, and I think that's also what we're going to talk about later is how do we professionalize or how did the market mature. One other point...
There's definitely seasonality, and I think all VCs are either at Burning Man or at Sardinia as of today. So I think if we have to clearly reflect on this, is going to be in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. What about Solana? Because also there we see more institutional adoption. Solana has been, I think, the topic of 2025 and maybe even the end of 2024. Massive run, a lot of adoption, a lot of memes before, but also institutions are more and more so getting in it. Somebody was statistic that are over 50% of the USDC transaction happen on Solana, but also more institutions getting into. Maybe Val, you have some insights on that.
Yeah, I think the play that we had with Bitcoin that got replicated into Ethereum is now creeping into Solana as well. It's like what we saw this week, like a few days ago, is you have like the big financial shops essentially propping up for creating ETFs for Solana investments, essentially bridging institutional TradFi investments into Solana as the next big thing. Which is insane. I'm a big supporter of Solana itself, the infrastructure that it provides and the benefit it brings. Not as much when it comes to meme coins, but hey, this is part of the adoption of a chain.
Yeah, I think what is massive though is that they're I think the only one or one of the few non-EVM chains that have actually taken off and have been a massive success. Previously, people like to build on Ethereum or at least be EVM compatible to get as much adoption, but Solana is not that, and they've still reached such a massive hype and so much building on top of it, which is cool.
Yeah, I think we can clearly see that it needs to be cost efficient, it needs to be fast, and you need to have a network effect. And Solana just nailed all three of them.
Exactly.
Is there that's actually interesting because is there a way where you think that there's other chains similar to like EVM related like Solana that could be able to be that massively adopted of how it is today? Or do you think like Solana just happened to come out at like a really good time when like crypto was like hyping up, and that's probably why a lot of people adopted Solana?
Oh, good question. I sometimes wonder if Solana has maybe also been a good marketing play with all the memes around it, right? Like they just have been able to get pumped up fun on it, massive amount of adoption. Everyone had a wallet, and that's how they blew up. Because I think if you look at Avalanche as well, it's EVM compatible. They had these 3 different like layers on top of it to have either security, speed, or interoperability. They didn't take off as much, at least if you look at adoption. It tried to take off, but really the amount of builders on top of it hasn't been as massive as Solana.
Got it.
Yep. It's like I'm on the opinion that we don't really need another chain, but I mean, you never know. We've seen it with Solana. We can see it again.
Well, it's funny because I feel like that's another topic. I think in 2022 they call it the layer 1 wars. Like everyone's building a layer 1 network, and I think that's kind of over. We've seen our winners, and you can build another one, but it's so hard to get traction on that. I feel like Mantle is even struggling right now, even with the immense amount of funding they have.
Exactly.
True. Yeah. Okay. Well, talking about the market so far, are we seeing any signs of market maturity at this point, or is it still like in the hype to bust cycle?
I think we're. I cannot say either or. I would say we're at a hybrid stage, right? You have very very clear maturation with institutional backing, but you also have like very selective altcoin explosions. Which are essentially building up the case that there's still a lot of speculation in the space, but at the same time there's a lot of institutional backing. So there's a hybrid approach which I don't think is going anywhere over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a spectrum, right? It goes from very mature type of investments, like almost like Web2, to the other side being very speculative, right? It moves back and forth. I think right now a lot of money is flowing into Bitcoin, and we've seen that, and I think that's quite obvious. But there's definitely some rare cases where some alts are picking up. I think overall we compared to if we look back over 5 years, we've definitely shifted more towards mature investments, and every cycle has its new stage. And I think the narrative for this cycle has definitely been the ETFs and institutional adoption. So the question whether it matured or not, I think it's an obvious yes, but it doesn't mean that other things are fully lagging behind. But it's a different time than 3 years ago.
Indeed. I think on one side you have the institutional backbone with ETFs and so forth, and on the other side you have like altcoin spot markets increasing in volume, and in August with about like 40% more or less.
Yeah.
So it's exactly a spectrum as Jelle said.
I mean, do you think there's like a bit of a difference between how the institution sees this compared to like the normal retailers who are seeing this current cycle?
Well, it's also the institutions. They need some security. They need ETF infrastructure. Legal is an important thing, and the smaller crypto project and medium crypto projects just don't offer that yet. There's no ETFs, and it's also that they have only a certain amount of capital available, right? So they'll devote it mostly to Bitcoin in this case. That means there's less left for the other projects. And the other thing, always, I mean, I don't want to move everything to liquidity, but if you're Warren Buffett, you cannot get into anything but Bitcoin. Just suggesting that there's liquidity needed for big institution to go into smaller alts as well.
Okay, well that was interesting. Then where do you think we'll kind of delve deeper into like more on the retail side. So where do you think the sentiment is heading at the current moment, or is there like any major shifts happening right now?
I had I'll take the one, because what I did is I asked ChatGPT and about like a summary of all the narratives that have been there. So he came up with this: 2020 is DeFi summer, 2021 is the NFT boom, 2022 layer 1 wars, 2023 AI explosion, 2024 is the meme token mania with pumped up fun, and 2025 we're in AI agents, tokenizations, RWA, ETF, and DePIN. I think every year has its kind of like focus, so to say. And I think some of them are shifting a little bit away. I think AI agents is slowly slowing down. I think RWA stay relevant. Also, it's definitely seen its peak. ETFs is, I think, the main word for beginning of 2025, ending 2024. And I think that's where it's heading. Memes slightly slowing down, especially with Pumped Up Fun, I think slowing down as well. So I think that's where we're at. Val, what do you think?
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to counter the meme side of things. Actually, there's a very big surge in memes now compared to a few months ago. But I think like long term, the trend is definitely going on the low. There's a couple of other things that I was looking into, specifically for the past month or a couple of months. So there's a pretty big FOMO from retail for altcoin season. So the Google searches for alt season are all-time high, like compared to the last few years. Also, another thing when we're talking purely about retail, when it comes to like Bitcoin, retail has become smarter. Right? They've become better with managing their risk, and actually, retail are the dominant power that is buying the dips of Bitcoin, much more compared to institutions. So essentially, retail is becoming smarter, and they're all expecting an altcoin season. Given that Bitcoin has more dominance, they've become smarter in the way they execute their positioning.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, actually, I wanted to get back to what Yele pointed out about like every year we had different narratives happening for different retailing, and seeing how you mentioned it went from DeFi and then there's NFTs and dropping upwards to layer ones, and then afterwards there's like meme coins and stuff. It looks like each year there was more of like a development for something more institutional or something more professional maybe, and afterwards it becomes completely degen, where like the next year it's like NFTs and next year is like meme coins. But then you can see like this year in particular there was quite a hype for RWAs, which is, even though it's more retail, it's quite a more professional angle. Like this definitely takes a lot more than just trading from the sidelines. Like what do you think of that kind of pattern?
Val, any specific thoughts, or should I take it?
Well, I'm not sure what the right answer is, but the way I see it is like good visionaries build utility, utility builds good time, and good time creates more degen activity, right? So I think this is the cycle that you just mentioned, right? Maybe it's a recurring pattern, maybe not. Maybe the actual vision and solutions and utility that are brought out to the market get depleted after some time, which opens up the market for more speculation, degen activity, until the next visionary comes into the market and proposes a new play.
Yeah. It reminds me of running a startup, right? Because running a startup is all about, quickly iterating over new ideas and testing them and validating them. And I feel like that's almost what crypto is doing every single year. There's just new ideas coming up. There's a hype. Well, it doesn't work. Some things will stick. And we're just continue to search for what is the real product market fit that we still have with crypto. That's a bit unfortunate because it's been around for so long, and Bitcoin has found its product market fit. I think the one narrative that has always been there is still DeFi, and I think it will stay. But outside of that, a lot of things have died off. Like nothing really sticks enough. But I think we need to continue to do that to actually find the real product market fit, I think, for crypto and tokens.
That's really interesting because it is true. There's not much of a narrative that sticks more than a year, actually. So it's quite hard to stay alive because it's like a mixture of utility, but also like making sure it's product market fit.
DeFi, right? Like I think still the fact that I can send dollars anywhere in the world is massive, and the fact that I can borrow money from someone else is great. I think RWAs will find its place as well. It's a narrative that will stick, but mostly because it will fit in with DeFi quite nicely. But on the other hand, a lot of it has been booms and busts.
That's true. Yeah. we'll have to see how it goes throughout the cycles. But what's your thoughts on the institutions then? Like going away from retail, do you think they're waiting for something to jump back into? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think they're always waiting for something. I don't think we're going to reach a point where nothing is expected to happen to the market. But they're very not really quietly, but very strategically accumulating assets and waiting for clarity on mostly on the regulatory side, right? So I think they're positioning themselves and waiting for the green light, mostly I guess from Trump administration, to push the market upwards and generate amazing yield for themselves and for their clients. But in terms of what they're looking for, again, I'd say it's regulation. I think all of them are also looking for yield opportunities, because one of the biggest arbitrage opportunity that exists at the market in the market at the moment is the arbitrage between TradFi and digital assets. You could borrow capital from TradFi, deploy it in digital assets, and earn a yield from this arbitrage opportunity, which is unheard of in TradFi. So I think this is what the institutions are looking for. And last but not least, I'd say they're very patiently waiting for rate cuts from the Fed, which is most likely going to happen.
Understood. Yella, is there anything you want to add on to that, or like in terms of how institutions are looking at from your experience?
Well, I think they're always looking for real utility, right? I think one thing that we kind of go around and we often say is that crypto is driven by speculation. The moment that flips to like I sometimes think about AWS credits, right? Like let's say that was a token, and if AWS becomes so used that they want to buy the token to be early in, so they can really use AWS later down the line, that'll be massive. But I don't know if that's happening. If that really happens and Ethereum is becoming so overly used that you want to buy Ethereum right now because in 2 years from now it's too expensive to buy and you get a better price, then everyone would rush in. But I don't know if that's going to be the case anytime soon.
Understood. Okay. Well, speaking about all these different perspectives, I wanted to step up with the next question and change it up a bit. So I'm going to name a few things on the list, and I want you guys to let me know if it's overhyped or underhyped. So it's just going to be like a quick fire kind of stuff. But if you do want to expand, you can please feel free if you want to go for it. So number one, we have AI token. Yeah, come again?
Do we both give an answer, or one of us?
Up to you guys.
Okay, let's both do it.
Yeah. Okay. So cool. Number one is AI tokens.
Overhyped.
Oof. Okay. Overhyped. Do you guys want to expand on it, or
let's do it at the end? Let's do a quick fire.
Okay, let's do quick fire first then. All right. Number two, we got AI agents.
Fairly hyped.
Did you guys say fairly hyped both at the same time?
No, Val was underhyped.
I said underhyped.
Underhyped. Ooh, okay. Underhyped and fairly hyped. All right. How about DAOs?
Underhyped.
Underhyped as well.
Yeah, I had an angle about this, but we'll go over that later. There's DeFi, which you mentioned was pretty good.
Under.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Layer 1 blockchains?
Overhyped.
Overhyped. Layer 2 blockchains. Layer 2 markets?
Overhyped.
I'll say just about right.
Fair.
Okay. And then there's RWAs.
Underhyped.
Crypto ETFs.
Underhyped.
Okay. And there's also new stable coins.
Overhyped.
I'd say just about right.
Okay. I mean, with the thing with FTX before, I guess. I think people are a bit scared when it comes to stable coins. How about NFTs?
Do they still exist?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like they're fairly hyped, which is not hyped. So maybe that's it.
Yeah, I think there was a small like spike. Like I think it was last month or something. Some people were bringing it back. Okay, next would be institutional adoption.
Underhyped slightly.
Fairly hyped.
Underhyped and fairly hyped. Okay. How about GameFi?
Overhyped.
Overhyped.
It's still, I mean, it's quite popular in Philippines. The last time I checked.
Yes,
Next is meme
it
coins.
is. It's I'll elaborate later.
Okay. Okay, and meme coins.
Overhyped.
Overhyped. Launch pads.
Overhyped.
Overhyped.
Okay, and last but not least, hyperliquid.
Just about right.
Yeah, I would say underhyped.
As of today.
I think I'm in the middle, like between
As of
underhyped and fairly hyped. Yeah, as of today, it's overhyped. Like it's fairly hyped, I guess.
Fairly hyped.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, yeah, we can go backwards, I guess. Like, for what do you guys think of hyperliquid? I mean, before and after today.
Well, I think overall great platform, great use case, good liquidity. It makes sense that they've taken off liquidity trading infrastructure wise. So in that case, it's fairly hyped. Everyone is moving there. I love Dexus. Dexus is where it should be, given we're in crypto. So I think it's great that there's a big competitor, outside of DYDX who did it before, really competing with the big guys out there now. So I love that.
Nice. Okay. Val, do you have a different opinion on this, or is it similar?
It's very similar. I also love the way they've engineered the logic for listings with the reverse Dutch auction. I think that's a genius.
Okay, cool. Launch pads, which is something that we wanted to talk about before, I believe. So it's overhyped, as you guys said.
Yes. Val, any thoughts, or should I take it? Why I think so?
Well, I just think it doesn't. I think there are too many launch pads, and just it doesn't make financial sense if you look at it. Right? I think you're more. I think you're closer to specific operations on launch pads, but I think just financials don't make sense, and the market is very fragmented.
Yeah, we're seeing some some worrisome things happening, where the whole idea is, of course, that you raise funds with communities, which is in a way awesome. But the way it's organized right now, that there's always a refund policy, no lockups, there's no fair risk reward for anyone who's investing, and there's high doubts whether the launchpad itself isn't just investing and getting all the refunds in. So if at a launchpad is raising 100K and 100% refunds, you still need to pay your commission or your cost over that 100K. So it could very well be just a launchpad investing in any type of way, and those are things we're looking at and trying to better understand.
Okay, and obviously, do you want to go over meme coins?
Nah, I think it's all good.
Definitely overhyped.
Yeah.
Okay, and Val, you said you had something to say about GameFi.
GameFi. So when it comes to games, I think there's a clear, I'd say, utility. Like in terms of rewards and using this reward system as part of your game. So I think there's definitely a way to adopt blockchain in gaming, like overall. But the actual utility bonus that it provides you, I don't think is that much different than what a traditional software company can do so in most of the cases.
I guess so. I mean, it's quite difficult to come by a really good GameFi so far. Yeah. I don't think there was many that stayed too long. I do want to cover.
I think adoption for like kind of GameFi platforms is pretty good in Philippines and Vietnam and Malaysia, but not in the rest of the world. And I think this is due to the ability of players and participants on the network to monetize it via their time. I think there's a direct incentive for them to monetize, things like airdrops or any sort of other kind of capital mechanics that are embedded in those GameFi platforms, which I don't see as a real utility.
I mean, I personally think it could be because of the currency differences, like compared to the country valuations and stuff. Like it definitely pays off their bills. Probably why they're still invested into GameFi. I do
Exactly.
want to go over a couple more from the list, not all of it. There was institutional adoption where I think Val, you said it's underhyped, but Yella, you said it was fairly hyped. So there's a bit of a difference here.
I think fairly high because I thinking of this meme where everyone is like institutional adoption bro, and then this crazy meme face that is just a nerve that everyone is focused on, and although that is true, I don't want to think that. I think people are blowing it up still in a way, so I think it's fairly hyped. It's not underhyped. I don't think it's overhyped. It's just fairly hyped.
I believe that everything that makes sense and generates traction, there's always going to be that specific bro that is going to put his identity, kind of behind it in a way. But as you said, in my opinion, it's like you said, it makes sense, right? So the amount of capital in TradFi, there's going to be quite a bit of inflow from there. And the use case for stable coins and for adoption, for the yield, for tokenizing assets where it makes sense to tokenize, I'm kind of touching on the RWA side. I think it's definitely underhyped if you have a look at the capital that has come into the space until this date and what the potential of future inflows could be.
Yeah, RWAs is something that I think a lot of institutions should focus on, which I believe would be like a first step to real connection with Web 2 and Web 3. The RWAs is what I would totally agree with it being underhyped. There should be more people adopting that narrative. Cool. Let's move on to the next question for now. If you were to give one piece of advice to founders building in the market today, what would it be?
I think very clearly will be, the token first, utility later type of mindset is just it's not going to work anymore. I think that's my only advice.
Yeah, I think there's two examples, right? Like one is Hyperliquid that we talked about before, Val, building out the whole product first, getting traction, and then the token. And I think the other one is Pumped Up Fund. Although it's about memes, like they didn't start with a token and then build it. They built the business, the hype first. And although the launch might not have been as successful, like they were still a multi-million-dollar market cap product or project, and they couldn't have done that if they launched the project first, like the token first, and then the business. Or it would be way harder.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's also this idea where some companies with really good foundation, you even say that you don't even need to release a token.
Yeah, well, I mean, we see that more and more, and then equity investment is a thing, right? I think that's something we're seeing as well. Like more and more projects are trying to get like equity investment in, trying to build real business, and I think that's a good sign of maturity as well. To be fair, and that doesn't mean they can never introduce a token, but will just come later. Do an equity investment first, build enough traction, a good business behind it, and then a token should support it and make the business only better. But even without it, it should be able to survive.
Yes, 100%. I mean, like it's quite difficult because a lot of the crypto companies are relying on tokens to kind of survive. What's your thoughts on that? Yeah.
I mean, we're all relying on speculation. The moment that goes away, that's like everyone will have a hard time in crypto, I guess. So yes, that's a big domino piece that if it falls, it will have an effect on everyone in the space. That's to be fair, where bull and bear markets come from, is just the amount of speculation in the space. And a big factor in that was Corona times, where everyone got free money and started to put it in crypto, or where interest rates are being cut again, more money to be cheaper money, which means more inflow into risky assets.
So kind of funding via token is essentially an equity-backed loan. right? And I think whoever understands this and internally in their company would have a level of success compared to if you don't really understand it. I think a lot of projects are they have a very firm belief that selling tokens is actually means profit, and this is the way to fund the company and all the operations. But it's actually equity-backed loan. This is a loan that you will have to repay to some extent. And I think this is a very big misconception in the space. I'm talking about long tail altcoins.
Okay. Understood. Okay. Well, seeing how we are seeing a lot of the different token projects these days, what's your thoughts? I'm going to combine two questions together and say, what's your prediction for like the next 6 months, like the rest of the year, so to say?
I can kick it off. I think when it comes to Bitcoin, I think where we currently are in terms of price is going to be is going to establish a support level. So hopefully we get to new all-time highs, or at least this is what your financial analysts are predicting. The way we're seeing it, there's a very clear rotation into altcoin due to Ethereum. So we predict that this is going to continue into a full-blown out season. There's going to be institutional flows into some layer ones, such as Solana or Sui, and I think there's going to be quite a bit of filtering when it comes to AI tokens. Currently, most of them have no real utility. Some of them have like a great one, such as DAO, and it's essentially survival of the fittest. And again, I think the next big thing that we're all expecting next month is the rate cuts, which is going to determine how the market is going to develop for both institutions and retail.
What's your thoughts?
Essentially, quality altcoins will thrive, and everything else will not, and they will get most of the attention. This is how I see things.
And Yeli, what do you think about the rest of the next 6 months?
I think I stand by what Val says. I think one thing that's important for products to understand is that be mindful on how you spend your money in the next 6 months if things might go super well. I don't want to be a bear, but I think it's sensible for project to think about, hey, what happens in a bear market? Am I overspending here, or what is the risk that I'm taking? And of course, think about like, hey, what if the revenue from a token kind of falls away? How is my project able to survive? And I think that's something we've seen around April, where a lot of tokens and projects also died. That's where we washed out a lot of bad projects and new projects can come in. But ideally, you're able to survive multiple bear markets because you just have a good business behind it. And I hope that at least that's what we tell the projects we work with. And I hope that most projects look at it that way as well. And some of them are in a luxury position where the business is doing really well, or the token is doing really well. They can build some treasury long enough. And some of them are already struggling at this point, and then it might get really hard in when everything has peaked.
Okay, cool. I think that was the end of the first segment. I think that was like a great discussion about how the market has been going on so far. But just to switch up the topics a little bit, I want to talk about how Enflux has been internally. It'll be great for our listeners or people that we've been working with. They might be listening to this live stream as well. So yeah, let's move on to this segment here. First of all, I do want to congratulate Valentin on Forbes 30 under 30. I want to know how that feels for you. And yeah, like how's everything been so far from that?
Thank you. Oh, I'm very much honored for the recognition. But I think it shows something very much interesting that we as a crypto service provider and an infrastructure company, we're getting like industry validation for our type of business, which is absolutely amazing. Again, I mean, there's a whole team behind me that sits behind this recognition, so it really well reflects on the efforts of everyone. And again, on the industry validation side and kind of market positioning, it really does show that we're building a very serious business here. So it was great.
Yeah. Did you know that you were under Forbes, or was it like did they let you know before that, or like how does it work from that perspective?
Yes, they do reach out to you a couple of months before the announcements in order to basically know a bit more about you.
Ah,
There's a
okay.
selection process. So post the selection process, they call you up, try to get more information on the nitty gritties of your business.
That's so cool. They should give you like a trophy. It can help you like just like YouTube, when you get some like certain amount of followers. But yeah, like you mentioned that we've been getting a lot more recognition from our partners per se. Is there a number of how many clients that we've onboarded just this year so far? I think it'll be like a pretty good achievement.
Yeah, it's over. We've dealt with over 100 clients, new clients this year. That's both on OTC and market making combined. I think another big statistic is around the trials that we do. So I think we're the only market maker, one of the few that does a trial from the market making side and also OTC, the daily purchase we do. And I think on the market making side, we have around like a 95, 99% retention rate of everyone who starts trials actually becoming a client, which is awesome. I
99.
it's a big risk. Like for products, a big risk to sign a 3 month agreement, right? So you want to know how someone works before you actually want to test out the waters. And if we do that well, and I know we do, we retain the client after that. So that's awesome.
Is there a trial period? You mentioned 3 months.
No, but like if you want to sign for 3 months, right, and you don't know the counterparty, you've never worked with them, and you trust them with your capital and your accounts, I could understand that's a big threshold, and that's why we do provide a trial for products to understand how Enflux works and how we do our service before they sign something big. So often we can do that within a week on one exchange, on two exchanges at the same time. Have a couple calls in the meantime, show the analytics that they can see the transparency we deliver and how we collaborate with the project. And that gives them enough confidence to actually sign that deal straight away.
Yeah, I think that's really good. That is true. We don't see much trials happening in other market makers.
We've
And yeah,
we've even done this for clients that like were practically ready to sign, but like, well, dude, no rush. Let's just do a trial first. Really get you 100% rather than 90% confident. Let's make you 100% confident before you sign something.
that's true. Yeah, we want to stay transparent and honest to our clients. That is our main core value. um the rest of the questions, there's also how many partners do we have in our community this year, and like when you look back, how much we've grown so far, what changed the most? I wanted to combine a few questions together here.
Yeah. Well, I think it's two things. It's new business and keeping your existing business. That's one. I think keeping existing business is delivering good quality service day in day out, with the things we're good at, collaborating with the project, and also see how we can move them forward and be focused on that. The other part is getting new business in, and a big part of that has been our network that we have. We have a community Telegram group with over 200 people in there, of people that we connect with on a daily basis. Out of those 200, over 100 of those have referred at least one business to us or one opportunity for both OTC or market making, which is quite massive. And one thing that's really awesome is that we've actually started to hire some of these people that bring us good deal flow internally to work with them more closely. So I think that's been a very big achievement. Outside of the people that work for Enflux, we have a lot of guys that advocate for us and bring us a lot of deal flow as well. And that's really been a major milestone in the success of Enflux for this year.
Yeah, that's not a small feat. I'm proud that, and Enflux has been growing tremendously this year. Otherwise, with our clientele, even though like we mentioned, you had around over 100 new clients this year. So, what kind of feedback have we been hearing from our clients lately? Like, obviously, it's much more positive since you have 99% retention rate from trial.
So what we've actually done is we've done we'll touch upon that later probably as well, done a survey with the clients just to see how they look at our service that we provide, how proactive are we, how often should we communicate with them, because that's also something that some clients want differently than others. And overall, of course, it's been good. And of course, there's things that we need to pay attention to. A lot of it is around like the proactiveness that we do, what type of insights we provide. So there's a lot of learnings around that, of like how frequency do they want what type of information, basically. And then we know what tools to build around that as well to help them out there, because it's not only a person-to-person relationship and insights we can give on a weekly basis in the calls, but it's also information we can automate and send to them on a minute-to-minute basis if something really happens.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Okay. I mean, do you have any other general updates you want to share, Val, from like Enflux side in your end?
Well, I think like one of a continuous process that we always have within the company is that we just need to keep growing. We're servicing more sophisticated clients. We're expanding more kind of exchange partnerships with like kind of direct exchange market making, or partnership on the altcoin side. So I guess like on an update side, it's just about kind of managing the growth and expansion, which has its challenges. We almost tripled our workforce this year, double to triple, and kind of sustaining growth. It's one of the biggest responsibilities.
Cool. Okay, so to wrap things up, because we are really over time, the last question I do want to ask you guys: is there anything you're excited about in the next few weeks from Enflux?
We're very much looking forward to Token 2049 in Singapore, and the first and 2nd of October. We're looking to gather up with our closest partners and clients, together with Tier 1 Exchange, which we haven't disclosed yet, but we're very much looking forward to it. And we're cooking a lot of things in the back end, which we're not ready yet to demo. But exciting updates to come.
Okay, awesome. Right, so I'm going to close this off. Thank you, Yele and Valentine, for sharing your insights so far. I do want to share some small teasers. So we've recently released our very first guide that really talks deeply into OTC deals. So if anyone in the audience who wants to learn more about how OTC deals work, or like what kind of thinking process you need before you dive into those transactions, we have them available on our website. You can go and download it for free. And we have a huge campaign coming up soon. We'll share the details on our socials very soon, but we have a campaign called Enflux Quest that's popping up. If you stay tuned to our social media, you'll be able to know what is included. Otherwise, the Enflux Insights, this first episode, we'll be having that. This episode, we're going to have it every month, and we'll have webinars happening in between soon. So you guys can really learn more about what we do in detail. And yeah, thank you guys all for tuning in. And catch you all guys again next month. Thank you guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.